Hello, everyone. Thank you. Welcome, new subscribers. Thank you, subscribers, for following us, supporting us, liking our videos. My name is Reverend Penelope Stewart. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Today, I wanted to give a two-part book review on two books. I'm doing them together. Um, for my own reasons. I'll tell you my reasons in a minute. But the first book review I wanted to give you is on practical burning, candle burning ritual by Raymond Buckland. This is a very good book. I had excellent results when I first used this book. Um, it was unintentional. I did my first spell. I was maybe in my 30s, and I was unaware of the power of my thoughts, my emotions, and my states of consciousness when I first did it, and it worked. But I'll dive in there and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And I regretted it because I didn't think it was going to work, and I didn't give it enough thought. And just like a lot of us, it was a spell to capture a man's love. And boy, did I regret that. That was the most toxic. It was a toxic relationship. It was a toxic relationship that, by the time I realized I didn't want it anymore, it was too late to get out of it. So it was one of those things. So this book really does work. Be careful if you're going to be using this book. Think about what you're doing first. Is it really worth it? I do recommend this book if you are a beginner. I recommend this book. Practical, easy to use. Love Raymond Buckland stuff. He's been in the ritual and magic game for a long time. I love the way he talks about candle burning magic. I love. So I'm gonna dive in here and just give you a brief review of the book. Talk about what's in the book a little bit. And here I go. The rituals in this book are collected from around the world. Some are relatively new. Some have been around for hundreds of years. They cover many aspects of life, many of the basic needs that the people have felt at one time or another, good and bad. And here perhaps there should be a word of caution regarding the ethics of magic. In witchcraft, there is a mention of, and it harm none. Do what thou will, and it harm none. This includes, of course, yourself. Do nothing to harm another, and do nothing to harm yourself. This is not a book on witchcraft. It is a book on magic. What is the difference? Basically, witchcraft is a religion, while magic is a practice. In other words, anyone can do magic. Consequently, they can do it for good or ill, depending on the personal ethics. I'm glad that was made very clear in here, because I've had people, even family members, to say, "Oh, even what you think or what you learn is witchcraft," and I'm just like, seriously, really? Do you really know what witchcraft is? I think you've been misinformed about what witchcraft really is and what I'm speaking on here. So I've heard that many times in my conversation. Since this is not a book on witchcraft, it does include one or two rituals that you would not find in such a book: to arouse jealousy, to break up a love affair, to win the love of a man or a woman, to win love. Yes, this is deceptively innocuous sounding ritual, yet consider it. When you set out to influence another's feelings for you, are you not interfering with their free will? Would you want someone to interfere with your free will? And see, this is what happened to me. I did that spell. It didn't work right away. It took it about 3 weeks to really work. And even this man was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I can't get you out of my mind. It's almost like you put a spell on me. Like, your words keep echoing in my mind. You know, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's when I knew possibly that spell had worked. And then I added some stuff to it when I did the ritual. Let me stop saying spell. You know, some of you guys are not comfortable with that. So I added some to the ritual to really give it a umph. You know, I buried some stuff in his yard. And I was just intuitively guided to do that. He didn't know I had some stuff buried in his yard. So, and I think that's the reason why it was so potent too. You know, the energy and that I had put into it, and then buried in his yard. I think it had a really profound effect on the ritual and the energy. Okay, so I'm gonna go on. So be careful about what you're doing. You know, when I tell you this book worked, because it gave me a foundation of how ritual should work, and I kind of followed it. You know, but I go on. He says, I think that all rituals in this book need to be here, if no other reason than historical interest. I would only ask that you choose the right ritual for you with the above words in mind. Bear in mind also that what you ask for is what you get. So be quite sure that you really want it before you ask. You know, I didn't read that part. I didn't read this part. I just did the rituals in the book. I did not read this book. Because I was a beginner. I didn't know as much as I know now. I hadn't learned. I just started, I had just started dabbling and learning little things, But I had not read that. And had I read that before I did what I did, I wouldn't have done it. I would have gave it more thought. But hey, I'm here to sit down and read it now. And I see the consequence of my actions. I've had a lot of time to reflect with spirit and see where I was using this energy all along unconsciously. So I'm looking at some of the mistakes, some of the lessons I've learned, put it like that. I deal with this aspect more fully in an exciting new section at the back of this book that deals with creative visualization. And I like this about this book because he goes in and tell you what to visualize when you're doing your ritual and what state of consciousness you should be in. This is so important. I have not seen that in other books, so many other ritual books or the magic books or whatever. Haven't seen so much of that, but he goes into detail. I like that about that book too. And in the chapter on preparation is you got to read that book. Because the part on preparation is so simple. It makes your work what you call it, foolproof. It's just you can't get it wrong. Okay, if you read the preparation part in this book. Okay, but let me talk about sympathetic magic. It's based on the principle of like attracts. Make a wax or clay model representing a person, and if you work to the prescribed formula, whatever you do to the figure will actually happen to the person. Early humans first discovered this 25,000 years ago in Paleolithic times. In those days, to ensure success in hunting for food, humans modeled a clay bison, then attacked it and killed it. They then felt sufficiently empowered to go out and kill the real bison. Today, many people are finding that they can work this same type of magic using candles, not to hunt bison, but to solve many of the problems presented by the 20th century living. By burning different types of candles and manipulating them in various ways, they find they can influence people and things. This book deals with the practice of candle burning, what candles to burn and when, how to manipulate them for the purpose desired. It deals with the history of the subject, for as its title states, it is a practical book. It is for those who want to be able to do things. Simple yet effective, these rituals can be done right in the home with readily available items of no complexity. Raymond Buckland. A very good book. You know, even the introduction is just like telling you, and he backs it up. This introduction backs it up because he goes through here and he talks about the preparation. He talks about where to burn the candles, where there should be no TVs. If you're doing this kind of work, should be an area where you're not going to be disturbed, an area where there's not electronic stuff that's going on, where you're going to be doing your ritual at. So the quiet area, really quiet area. There tells you really too how to prepare your altar. That's what I like too. He gives really good diagrams, and I'll show you some diagrams in this book how your candles should be placed on your altar, in what order you should blow out the candles as well to keep your ritual, energy strong in your candles. So, love this book. Okay, he talks about the altar and what you'll need to create this altar. The candles, just regular candles. He talk about incense as well. Some of your rituals you'll need incense, some of them you won't. You can choose your own incense. Talks about how you should prepare. The practitioner. He lets you know there's no rigid fasting or anything like that. However, you do have to get a spiritual bath going, and you can do that with simple sea salt and water. Okay, he talks about that too. Tells you how to dress a candle. How you should dress it, where you should rub it at, from top to bottom. Start from the middle and work your way up, and then from the middle and go down. So yeah, a really good book. I like the book. He talks about, astral candles, all types of candles. He talks about the rituals. And let me get into this. I want to read the rituals part because some of us think, oh, these rituals, how we know they're going to work, and is it going to be hard? So let me read this part to you. I thought it was very ensuring, the way he talks. Rituals are given for all the more frequently dealt with conditions, plus one or two that are a little out of the ordinary. Two forms of ritual are usually given. One is the customary Christianized form, simplified version of which are found in the few books currently available on candle burning. The other is more general traditional form. The latter have been collected by the author from various sources throughout Europe and seem to reflect the pre-early Christian nature worship, the old religion as it is known. Whichever ritual you use will be equally valid. Indeed, the finest and the most effective words would be spontaneous ones from your heart. Not all of us are able to produce the right words to match our feelings at the right time. However, hence the ritual herein, they need not learn by heart. They can simply be read from this book. If you make a mistake, don't worry. All small error, a fumble, a slip, a tongue of the tongue will not negate the ritual. It is the meaning, the purpose within you that is important. So I thought that was, really good. He has these rituals in both formats, the old religion and the Christianized religion. I use different ones in here. If they resonated with me, then I would use it. I'm more of an infuser. I infuse things too. I'll add my own little spin on things. It tells you how to dress the candles. Gives you words before you start a ritual. And I'll just read a little bit from here. But this book is really good. You have maybe 200 pages in this book. Most of them consist of rituals. Most of the pages consist of rituals. Just a small part here that talks about preparation. Rituals are more than just words. They have they have meaning. Whichever of the following rituals you can plan to do first. Sit quietly and read it through. Think about the words, their meaning. This way you will not be repeating something parrot fashion, but will be getting closer to the idea of using your own words from the heart. Of the two types of rituals given in this book, many people favor the old religion or non-Christian ritual, simply because the wordings are as pertinent to the aims of the rituals. In so many of the traditional Christian versions, the words of the Psalms used seem to have no bearing whatsoever in the operation. Yet many people have had great success whichever version they have used. Read them, then use that which you find most pleasing to you. First and foremost, you should feel happy and comfortable with what you use. The book is divided into two parts. Part 1 being old religion version of rituals, and part 2 being the Christian version of the rituals. You can use the version you like best, or mix and match. And see, that's me. I infuse, I mix and match. Really good book. And I forgot, I've seen the part. There's a diagram. I saw a diagram in here too. Well, here's his little diagrams. Here it is right here. These little diagrams, he puts a little diagram in here to show you how to set up the altar for each use. You know, this one is for enemy. And he showed you how to set up your candle, what candle should be where. Like I said, I like this book. It's more descriptive. Okay, so I recommend this book. Love it. It worked unintentionally. I was unconscious that it was going to work. I was very young, very naive, and it worked. So, good book. Then I want to talk about the powers of Psalms. The power of Psalms. Okay. This book is by Anna Rivas. Very popular book. I know this is probably not the first time you've seen this book. And not the first time you've heard someone speak on it. You know, I've never used this book, but I've read this book. I've looked at the book and looked at some of the rituals and prayers in here. I wish that the author here, Anna Riva, would have went into more details about the history of Psalm. Because Raymond Buckland talks about Psalms being a more ancient ritual and prayer. And we all know Psalms is way more older than the Bible. And we do ourselves a disservice when we don't learn more about the history of the Bible. Not just the Bible, but the history of it in its authentic form. And so I wanted to hear more about that. I wanted to see it more in an authentic form, even though to me we're still, and this book is not a religious book. It's a spiritual book, but it still has a religious feel to it. That's why I like the Raymond Buckland book, because I can go back and forth from the old. I have a choice to use the old religion ritual, which is more authentic, in its more authentic form before it got revised and put into the Bible, But the words are still meant the same. It's just written in a different format. But, I like that I have the option in this book. I love that I have the option in this book. Now, I do like, the history, the reviews on this book. I'm really anxious to work with this book. But what I'm going to do is do a lot of infusion, a lot of mixing and matching. Now, she gives details, too, on how to do candle work. Not so much about what candle is used for what and, like that. But she does give you what candles to use for a ritual. She don't give you, like, what color candles do what. and the days of the week. You know, not as detailed as this. This book is good for beginners. If you have not did any candle work before, don't buy this book. You know, I think you should have a comprehending understanding of ritual, you know, or spell before working with this book. You know, but it's a really good book. She did a really good job of telling you about prayers that you could say, use really as basically as affirmations to invoke energies around you. That's what I call it. You may call it spirit. Um, you know, for spiritual development. A really good book. There's no diagram in here to really show you how to set things up. Um, like I said, I'm going to work with this book in conjunction with this book. But Anna Rivas, this is a really good book. She gives you, you know, all types of rituals to bring in hope for health, mercy from others, improve self-esteem. You know, she gives you various types of rituals and spells that you can do in here. And she also has an index of Psalms in here where she gets it from. Um, you know, I think it's a good book. Fairly good. Think it's fairly good, but not as detailed as I would like it to be. And that's just my personal opinion. Okay, but I do recommend both books. But I do recommend you, if you're going to purchase them, I would like to, if you already got this book, then just purchase this book. That'll just, you know, that'll give you more options, you know, with ritual work. It gives you more option with ritual work, okay? That's what I like about this book. This book is good for beginners. You know, I think that we need to buy them together. I think they're more effective if you buy them together. That's just my personal opinion. You can take it or leave it. I don't know where I bought these books at. I'll be leaving the title of these books and the name of the author of these books here for you. I don't, you know, they're very popular. I know the Anna Rivas books sell out fast. Both of these books sell out fast. You can Google them and it'll be various locations come up for the book. So it's easy to find because it's very popular, but they sell out very quick. I can't even remember where I got these books from. I got them from 2 different sources, I think. So, you know, yep, really good books. And I'll leave the title here for you. Thank you so much for following us, supporting the page. I'm going to come back here shortly, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the holidays and the retrogrades and what I've been working on since this big move and my experiences with this new program that I've been working. Thank you so much for being here today. Light and love, may the ancestors be with you.